Hey guys, welcome to today's video. So, where we ended with lesson 5, because we are on lesson 5 right now. On Monday, we went outside and did a little bit of acting out of wildebeest population over time and counted the available grass. In your book, you should already have the data from 71. If you don't, get that data from the video on Monday's video or in Monday's folder. But before starting this video, make sure you have 72 to 74 done. If you do not have that done, number one, this video would make no sense to you, and number two, your homework is being checked Thursday, so it's better to get it done now rather than push it off till later. Okay, so at the end of page 74, you guys worked on algorithms. Was saying, in our example, there was an algorithm saying that if the number of wildebeest is less than the number of grass, then all of the wildebeest survive and 50% of them reproduce. Remember, the algorithm is just a rule or a set of instructions or a pattern that we can say about some data. So you made up your own algorithms. We're going to be looking at those algorithms and testing it against some other data. So, what you should have learned from class on Monday is that the number of wildebeest is limited or is dependent on grass. We're going to take that a step further by turning to page number 75. We're going to start there. So, on page 75, you're going to see population data from the Serengeti populations from 1961 to 2012. The year and wildebeest population were recorded annually. That means once per year. I just want to reiterate how this data was collected. So, this data, since the late 1950s, scientists have been flying over the wildebeest herds and counting the wildebeest. This happens during the wet season, and in the plane, it is a zebra stripe plane to kind of fit in with the animals in that area, which is kind of neat. Now, technologies have changed over time. Nowadays, the plane flies over and little transmitters get sent to the plane, and the population is counted all by technology. It used to be by hand, but we can say that our data is very accurate for these years. Instead of doing this with a group, you're going to be doing the worksheet today by yourself. We will be doing some math together here, and I want to do the first problem together to make sure that we're all on the same page. So, I need you to answer question number 1 on your own right now. When you're ready, go ahead and click yes for your answer on this video so you can move forward. Okay, so once you have number 1 answered, we're going to flip over the page to 76, and you're going to see question number 2. Question number 2 says, before 1960, a disease called rinderplas is killing many animals, ... I'm going to have you finish reading that on your own. Okay, so we learned that there's this disease and it was killing the wildebeest. And in the 1960s, they started to vaccinate against this disease. And by 2011, they were completely eliminated of disease. In part A, it wants you to look at the graph and explain what is happening to the population in 1960 to 1977. I want you to do that on your own. Click OK for your answer when you're ready to move forward. Awesome. We're going to move on to part B together, and part B is some math here. So if you do not have out your calculator, get out your calculator or open up a calculator on your computer here. We're going to be doing some basic algebra. Hopefully you remember from algebra, and if you haven't been there yet, you want to write down this formula. We have to calculate the rate of change for wildebeest population during this time period. Rate of change is just delta y over delta x, or in simpler terms, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You want to make sure that it is our second data point that we're going to be subtracting from. So here's the graph that we've been looking at. We're going to look at the years 1960 and 1977. So year is on our x-axis. I'm going to write that down. Year is on our x-axis and population is on our y. So our second data point for x is going to be 1977. That's going to be our x2. Our x1, the first data point that we're looking at, 1960. Now we're going to have to use the graph to get a rough estimate of the wildebeest population. I know it's kind of hard to see. If it's easier to get a straight edge and draw it across, you can. But let's look at 1960. So it says that the first data point is 1961, so that's going to be the closest data point that we can pick here. So the first data point, if we take a guesstimate, I'm going to say that's about 250,000. So 1960, since it is together, this is the x coordinate and this is the y. Let's do it now for 1977. So we have 1970 and 1980. We split it in half, that's 75. We can take a rough estimate that we're going to be a little over half. So I'm going to say fairly large number of 1,400,000. So our change in x and change of y, we have the formula already written. Let's simplify. So let's start in our numerator or the top. 1,400,000 minus 250,000 is going to be giving you the number 1,150,000. We have our division sign. And our denominator, we have 1977 minus 1960. That gives us a number of 17. When you simplify that further in your calculator, you're going to get approximately, if you don't know that this symbol means about, write that down. That's going to be key. So we're going to get about 67,647 wildebeest per year. Great. Now, what does this number mean to us? This means that the rate of change each year, the population is growing by 67,647 wildebeest per year. We know that it's growing because this is a positive number. If the number was negative, then our population would be decreasing. I want you to go back, watch this as many times as you need to get this math, but you will be doing this math 3 times in your notebook from pages 76 to 77. On page 77, you are going to summarize your rates of change and have a bit of an explanation. Once you have your rates of change, you should be able to answer pages 78 to 79. We will be having a class discussion about what is happening. If we don't get to it today, because people are still taking the CDTs, we will do that tomorrow. So plan of action today, make sure you have 72 to 74 done, and then you will be working on pages 75 to 79. If you get done early, I will also be opening the learning check. So you will have less homework this weekend. Learning check number 5. If you have any questions, please come see me. I also have an answer key, so come check your answers. Okay, have a good time finding out about our wildebeest population changing.